What's your name?
David.
Nice to meet you, David.
Nice to meet you.
Connor?
Connor?
Yes. Here.
So do you go to Ship?
No, I go to a different school.
Okay.
Yep.
Where does it need to be? Like right here?
You can put it wherever, but my microphone's close enough, so you should be able to hear you either way, as long as you talk good. So my basic position with pro-life is that it goes something like this. That on the face of it, that it's wrong for us to intentionally kill innocent human beings, and that should be illegal. That a fetus is an innocent human being, and that abortion directly kills an innocent human being, and therefore abortion is wrong and should be illegal. And basically is that I think that the only real difference between us and an unborn child in the womb is primarily that of age. Like, for example, I was once a toddler, I was once a baby, but then I was once a fetus, and along those lines is that I think that we're all valuable as human beings and that we should seek to protect each other for our lives.
Uh-huh. Cool. I respect that. But the only thing is a lot of your whole argument surrounds morals.
Mm-hmm.
And that's good, but that doesn't have a place in the legality, because who are you to tell someone else morals? Because everyone's going to have a different moral code, and a lot of those moral code is going to be based on religion, right? And America's a secular nation, so we live in a democracy in which everyone has the freedom of choice. And I respect your beliefs in pro-life, and I believe you have every right to advocate for pro-life, but we live in a free society in which people make their own decisions. And so a fetus is inside of a woman's body, so therefore it is a part of that woman, and therefore that is her body to make her own decision. So she should have that right to do so. And just thinking logically and realistically, because I do agree with your argument, we should all try and protect life. But let's be realistic. Abortion is going to happen regardless of whether or not it's legal or illegal. So a lot, and statistics show that making abortion illegal doesn't help. It doesn't lower abortion rates. So it doesn't, I don't think the pro-life argument matters, because regardless of it's illegal or not, abortion is going to happen. So if it's going to happen, we should do it safely and try and control it, and so that more people don't die. I don't know. I'm rambling.
Okay. No, you're fine. I hopefully the microphone's working and actually picks up, but I think you're good. But basically, my thing is that I'm not coming at this from. I'm not going to come at this from a religious perspective. I'm just coming at this from a perspective of, for example, is that if I go out and Mr. Cameraman over here and that I try to kill him, is that we treat that as wrong regardless. And maybe we can say, oh, subjective this, subjective that, is that typically in the US, it's like things like murder, homicide are illegal. Like I can't burn down someone's house, and that we recognize is like we come to an agreement that like, yeah, we should not do that sort of thing. And what I'm saying is that even in the case of like crimes along those nature, people do those still around us. Like people still commit arson, people still commit homicide. But I don't think that anyone would actually argue that we should make them illegal. Like, have you seen The Purge?
Yeah, but that argument, like, that's a logical fallacy. You're doing a red herring.
How's that a red herring?
Because how can you compare setting a house on fire or committing murder, killing the cameraman who is a person of age in which they are able to defend themselves and have a brain, to something of an organism that doesn't have fingers or toes or anything, and it resembles a tadpole?
Well, I have some actually pictures right here about. So this is what like when human life begins. So
That also looks very much like a chicken, too.
well, well, do you think that looks ultimately give us the right to kill people?
Well, if following that logic, then what gives us the right to kill chickens? Because that looks just like a chicken fetus. If you look at it, that looks just like a chicken.
Well, chicken fetuses typically the head is actually shaped, and this is more blocky, and the stomach is different. And embryologists can also go in and see whether
Right.
those are different, but
But
I don't think
we're
that
just
looks.
going based off looks. That's not
But that's a
that
human
goes
being,
farther.
though. That's a
Right.
human being. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying, though. Is like, don't you think that we shouldn't kill innocent human beings?
That's not a human being. I don't know the actual definition of a human being, but I think the definition of a human being like includes something about breathing, oxygen, being born and stuff like that. Like laws govern people, and people are things that are being born, but embryos haven't been born yet.
Okay. Okay. So I also have right here.
Mm-hmm.
So the American College of Pediatricians. We can get into the moral status of it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, so a human life begins at conception, regardless of our worldviews and all that. And by that, it is a human organism. So with organisms, is that they have 7 characteristics of life. Okay, those are things like metabolism, homeostasis, like response to stimuli, um, reproduction, like they perform mitosis, if you know, like the biology things. Those are some of them, but ultimately, is that this unique the sperm, egg, meat, they make a new human life, and that develops over time. And that I don't think things like birth, for example, like I think birth is a process that we can help women. I think that we definitely should go and fund things like gynecology and stuff like that. But ultimately, things like birth are just a change in location of the child from being inside the mom's womb to outside the mom's womb.
Hmm. So, how is miscarriage not murder then? Because
Mhm.
the mother's body rejects. Following your logic, the the mother's body rejects the embryo and
Mhm.
whatnot, and therefore the baby is technically aborted.
Well, yeah. So
So how
I
is that?
think
So then, how would the woman not be penalized for murder there?
Well, it's what's considered spontaneous. So, like, even born children, there's a
Oh, so spontaneous abortion
like,
is
yeah,
okay.
intent. No, well, intent matters. Like, for example, there's a condition even in born kids called sudden infant death syndrome. Is that
Right.
maybe like
Hmm.
if you had probable cause or proof that like they caused that, or that them being negligent, maybe in some obscene scenario where they like smoked crack or something like that. But what I'm saying is that
SIDS is a lot more common.
what'd you say?
SIDS.
So it's
Yeah.
yeah, and I'm like basically though is that sometimes is that if the woman didn't intentionally do that, she can't be held liable because those weren't a result of her actions.
Okay. So another argument I have for you. Do you think you should be able to make decisions about your own body?
Well, yeah, I also don't think we should destroy other human beings' bodies
Okay.
because like even in the case of abortion, what's going to happen is we're going to administer different medications to cause a sequence of events that involve starvation, desanguination, um, dehydration of the fetus and little human being. But also in later term abortions, there's even scientific studies where they induce digoxin to stop the heart and induce cardiac arrest, where they will
Mhm.
crush the skull and then rip off the limbs of the human
Yeah.
being.
So that sounds horrible.
Yes.
So why do you think any woman would just willy nilly make that decision?
Well, I don't think that. I think that there is the emotional weight of it, but
Hmm.
what I'm saying is that I don't think that we should be able to kill human beings. And it's actually Roe v. Wade was ruled in I think 1974. They can Cameron can fact check me on that, but basically
I think 73, but
73.
I think 73, but
Yeah,
74, but
yeah,
right around there. You're right.
around
Yeah.
there. But the ultrasound did not actually come out after Roe v. Wade. So
But
what I'm saying is,
no one's tried to overturn Roe v. Wade until
oh,
what
it's
was it 2022, 2023?
Well,
When
yeah,
was it actually
I
overturned?
think
And
it's
that was
20.
when there was an ultra conservative swing
I think
on
that's
the court
2023.
that was mainly influenced by a conservative Christian religious movement
Yeah.
to penalize women with abortion.
Well, yeah. What I'm
So
saying
we're not
though,
going to involve religion, but you just did.
well, what I'm saying is, though, religion might inform us of different values and all that, but I think even there is secular pro-lifers. But what I'm saying is that I don't. If we're going to just go off of standard normal values, is that I think that you can recognize as an atheist that killing other human beings is wrong and that you shouldn't do that.
Right, I do, but I don't consider embryos human beings.
Well, I mean, scientifically, that's what they are.
Is that what this says right here?
Well, yeah, like this is we can talk about the moral status, which the American College of Pediatricians clarifies.
Mhm.
But yeah, like that is objectively a
And
human
who
being.
funds the American College of Pediatricians? Like,
Well,
what is it?
pediatricians. Yeah, and this
Yeah.
is just development of how that goes along the lines. And this is actually different feminist movements,
Uh-huh.
like they actually express pro-life values far earlier than what we
Okay.
conceive.
So, do you think you're smarter than women?
No, absolutely not. There's women that are
So,
smarter than me.
okay. So why do a majority of women want abortion to be legal?
Well, I
And you
think
think they're wrong?
Well, I think that there's plenty of men who also believe that. I mean, there's plenty of men that believe that abortion should be legal. I think Roe v. Wade was also decided by white men, particularly, and I think that just being man or woman is that I don't think it's an insult to our intelligence that we can be deceived or anything along that lines. I mean, there is men who fought for the Civil War in the Confederacy, and I think those men were wrong. But you know, it's one thing is like maybe that there was something with the time, the information they were got, but I wouldn't take it as an insult or anything along that lines. I think that we
But
just
you're telling them that they don't have the right to make decisions about their body.
was is that her body that
Yeah, because that's surviving off of her body.
really? So
Yeah.
it's like if someone's on a ventilator or a machine, are they a machine?
If there's no brain function, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's
Because
alive
that's how
though.
they're surviving. Yeah, because of the mother.
Well, yeah, I mean, you survive because you get food and water and
Because
nutrients.
I feed myself.
Well,
I get myself nutrients. That embryo is surviving from the uterus, from the umbilical cord that is attached to the mother's uterus, that is from the mother's body. So therefore, it is a part of the mother.
well,
So
no,
I
it's an
don't
organism
think.
that works with the mom. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. But you're saying abortion should be illegal, and you don't ever have to get an abortion.
Yeah.
You don't have to make that decision.
Well,
And
there's medical professionals that are guys who perform abortions.
right, but you don't have to undergo an abortion. You won't know what it's like. So why should you make a decision that you will never ever have to go through?
Well,
When we live in America where people have the freedom to do so. And women, their statistics show that women aren't just having abortions forever. Like as birth control. Like that's not a thing.
well,
That's
600,000 to 1.2 million abortions happen a year.
yeah, we have 300 million people, and
Well, do you think that we should?
of those 600,000 to 1.2 million, how many of them are for because the baby's not going to survive, in to ensure the survival of the mother? How many of those are spontaneous abortions? How many of those are falsely classified abortions that were actually miscarriages? Like where's the breakdown of that statistic?
I think I actually have it later in here, but I would say that it's actually around like the vast minority are due to what are considered medical necessity.
And that's strictly your opinion right now because you don't have anything to back that up.
Well, yeah. Here, let's see if
And I don't mean that disrespectfully at
well,
all.
well, like what I'm saying though is that if I can actually find it. Sorry about that. Oh, geez, where'd it go? But basically, what I'm saying is that usually this is perpetrated that these are the actually I think I left it in my car, but sorry about that. But basically, is that whenever we talk about the abortions that typically happen, is that, as I said, is that we're killing innocent human beings, and even whenever they're born, is that you said, like, they're not using the mom's body and all that, but I think we need to get more specific, particularly because even whenever you have a child, is that that child can use things like breast milk to survive. The child needs to be fed, it needs to be taken care of, or if the child is not fed, that they will die, like, unfortunately. But I don't think that a mom or dad has the right to induce the death of that child for the sake of a bunch of different reasons. And I think that, even just as I said, is that 600,000 to 1.2 million abortions a year is a sizable number, and for us to say that's medical necessity, because even like medical conditions, like let's say like pulmonary hypotension, or what's it called, eclampsia, those can be treated with pharmacological therapies and things along that line.
Again, you're using a moral superiority argument, and
I don't think it's morally superior to say
Yeah,
that we
because-
shouldn't kill innocent humans.
but they're not human beings. Embryos are not human beings.
Well, embryos aren't, but zygotes are, yeah. And fetuses are, yeah.
Okay, I don't know. Not that researched on it. I don't think we, as Americans, have the right to make decisions about other people's bodies.
Well, yeah, and that's why I think abortion should be illegal, because we're
But
making decisions about the fetus's body.
the fetus is not a body. It's an embryo that's inside of the woman.
Well, it's an organism and it has a body. You saw it had fingers and stuff. Aren't we harming the fetus's body? Like, if we're ripping off limbs, like, yeah, that's what we're doing to it.
Yeah, that's what an abortion is.
Yeah.
So, but like, why do you think women have it? Like just cause?
Well, I think that many people have.
And what? So then they were supposed to have the kid, and then if they can't take care of the kid, have it go into foster care.
Well, foster care is different than adoption. I want to make that distinction. But
Yeah,
like,
but how many kids are actually not like adopted? How many kids are up for adoption? How many kids are living in fucking squalor because they were born?
well,
You know, so
there's plenty of services to help with that. But what my main point is that I don't think that we
plenty
should.
of services
I
to
don't
help
think
with
we
it, but
should
you didn't answer
kill
the
people.
question.
I don't think we should kill people
Again, they're
because.
not people.
Well, then what are they
People
then?
have to breathe.
Well,
Birds can't breathe.
well, there's people who are on ventilators and all that. I don't think that someone just unpersons
They
themselves.
don't even really have like lungs.
So what? Like,
You need lungs to breathe.
well, you need lungs to breathe, but that doesn't mean you're not a human being that's living and growing.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't. But like, that's why, like, you can, like, if you were to, let's say, if I was to get hit in the lungs right now, there's a condition called pneumothorax where your lung collapses in on itself. I don't think that you just stop abruptly being a human being when
Yeah,
that
because
happens.
you still have the lung. It still exists. At that point, they don't even have lungs yet. They haven't even formed.
Well, lungs continue to form throughout their life. That's different than just being a human organism altogether. Is that having a specific organ?
Yeah. I don't know. Again, I go back to,
Should people have the choice to intentionally harm or kill innocent human beings?
No.
So then,
Because
what, you should be pro-life.
Embryos aren't human beings.
Well, then what are they then?
Embryos.
Well, is it possible for a
fetus.
zygote or that to be a human being? Because I mean,
Zygote.
there's like pig fetuses, there's
Yeah.
like things
And
along
we-
those lines. So like, there's a human fetus. So, oh, you okay?
Mhm.
Aren't those human beings?
No. The embryos.
Well,
They're the beginnings.
an embryo is a gamete, like, of a mom, like a sperm. Those are a gamete of a man. When they meet together, they make a human life. Like,
Yeah, to me, I think you're comparing apples and oranges as like a red I just think it's a logical fallacy what you're trying to do.
Which logical
And
fallacy?
the red herring and or straw man, I can't remember the specific
Okay,
one, but it's
you're
like
good.
when it's like you're comparing something worse to make, like you're trying to make your an argument with one thing, but when you're trying to do it with another, like you're saying comparing abortion to actual murder and
Homicide, yeah.
homicide, killing a human being
Hmm.
when they're not the same.
What's the difference? Because they're both human beings, or just one's
A
older.
person has to breathe. An embryo can't breathe.
So I think the
They're
lung.
completely dependent on the mother.
Well, I think
They are
breathing.
attached to the mother, literally through blood vessels. Everything,
Oh
everything
gosh,
is
it's cold.
attached to the mother. They are like one in the same.
Well, the thing is that, as I said previously, is that human beings who are born can be attached to machines, and they can have problems with their lungs, but we still think that they're human beings.
Because their lungs exist. An embryo doesn't have lungs.
So a human being is a embryo with lungs.
No, look, an embryo doesn't even really have a brain. And you can't really compare an embryo and a human being. An embryo is the very basic forms of all life. Everything starts out as an embryo.
Well,
Everything.
all of us were fetuses too.
Yeah, it's the progression of life.
Well, yeah. So, like, if it's a younger human being, then why should we kill it? Like you're going back to the lungs where it's directly attached to people. But as I said, is that
Because I'm just saying it's not like I don't even know. Like I just keep saying the same. Yeah, again, the same thing. Whether or not you think it's right or wrong, that doesn't give you the right to make decisions for another human being, another adult, another living human being.
well, yeah, it's a living human being. It's just that
The
it's
woman,
less
the mom.
developed. It's a less developed human being.
Again, not. I don't really think it's a human being. I think
Well,
that's
then what is it?
just
So, like, is it like clump of cells or something like that? Or,
yeah.
well, like, aren't you
Honestly,
made of cells then?
yeah, a very organized, developed
Well,
thing of cells.
you're a clump of cells that
How
performs
many
things like.
babies are born every year in the U.S.?
I actually don't have that statistic on me.
Because like I wonder what the percentage is. Because again,
Oh
we're
gosh, it's cold.
I'm not changing my mind, and neither are you. And
Okay.
I respect the debate. Like I don't want you to think,
Yeah,
but
I respect you actually coming up
yeah,
and all that.
well, because no one wants to talk anymore.
Yeah.
You know, like, and everyone just gets upset and wants to argue, and like I like debating with people that think differently from me. Like,
Okay.
I think it's interesting because it is. It's how we. It's what makes democracy fun is
Yeah.
disagreeing to
Hmm.
try and come together. Because like I respect your belief that everything that life starts at the fetus, and I disagree.
Hmm.
But we we live in a democracy where everyone can disagree, and we don't
Hmm.
try not to bring morals and religion
Hmm.
into it all the time. And
Okay.
yeah,
So,
just
can we agree
good
on
luck.
one thing,
What?
that we should take actions, whether that be through healthcare, to actually help women in need in these situations? Like,
Yes, but I agree with that. But I think we disagree on what the help should be.
okay.
I agree with giving them all the options, telling them everything, like all the facts, telling them about what adoption would look like, what foster care is looking like, what we're going through the government, and what
Okay.
abortion is like
Okay.
all the facts, because they are adults.
Hmm. But I, as I showed you, though, the fact of the matter is that the life inside of her is an innocent human being. Like, it is a human organism, member of the species Homo sapiens. Like, that is
Yeah,
objective.
remember, yeah, it is that. Remember that.
But
But again, I just think it's a part of the woman. I'm not a woman. I'm never gonna have to get an abortion.
mhm,
Women aren't getting abortions as birth control. There's no science of it. It is emotionally traumatic. That is agreed upon.
mhm,
Statistics show that women get abortions for medical reasons and or factors in which they think the life of the child would not be good in life. Like,
Mhm.
there's just no
I have a question though. Why would it be emotionally traumatic?
for the woman to
Yes.
have an abortion.
Like, what's the difference between that and like plucking a tooth?
Whoa, bro,
Well, like,
come on.
well, I'm just like I'm
Have you had a period?
well, what I'm saying
Do you
is
know
like,
what having a period is?
well, no, I'm saying is that women don't get too emotionally upset. Like, if they have a period or something, like they might get like,
But you
moody.
cannot compare. This is see that right there is minimizing that.
No, no, no.
No,
I'm
no, hold
saying,
on, hold on.
no,
I
I'm
will
not
always
saying,
let you finish. Let me finish. Let
I'm
me
not trying to
finish.
minimize it. I'm saying is that if it is emotionally distraught, I agree it is. But I'm saying the reason why is because I think that whether subconsciously or not, is that women know that that's another life.
Yeah, and they don't make that decision lightly. But who are you to tell them that they can't even have the ability to make that decision?
Well, if it's another human life, like, shouldn't that fall under what I'm saying then? Like, isn't the reason why it is emotionally like devastating is the reason why to be pro-life?
No, you should be pro-choice because you should have the respect and consideration to think that women that are going to have an abortion aren't going to do it willy-nilly, and they're going to have a very good moral and sound argument for why they're doing it.
Hmm. But what I'm saying though is like it's
Because
emotionally distraught, but
yeah, it is, and that's why it should. That's why you can't. Who are you to tell them that they shouldn't be able to make that decision?
what I'm saying is that the decision is to kill another human being directly. And you tell other people around here is that, well, you can't do this or that in terms of killing other people. And I'm just saying the same thing, but for the little human being in the womb.
Mm. I don't know, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I just not gonna make that decision. So, and I don't think I'm better than anyone, and I don't think I should take that ability away from a woman.
Okay.
You know. So
Well, I appreciate you coming out.
yeah,
Gonna
have a
have,
good one, man.
yeah, you